So, Simon, while you were sunning yourself in Spain and Martin and I were back here, Scotland have only gone and done it, qualified for back-to-back Euros, which is terrific without kicking a ball. But here's the thing, and I know you'll give it, all right, calm down, you're celebrating qualification.
Yes.
And you'd be right to say that.
Yes.
But how does qualification to major tournaments become the norm for a nation like Scotland, or even for a nation like the Welsh, who are still pushing there to go?
Well, Scotland specifically, punch your weight. I mean, let's have it right. You've qualified from a group where Cyprus are 126th in the world, Georgia are 76, who such luminaries as El Salvador in front of them, and Norway are 43rd. You're 34th in the world. The populations of Cyprus are 1.2 million. The population of Georgia is 3.7. The population of Norway, you've got every aspect of football history, of football heritage, of population, of the scale of your performances in the world rankings. You should be qualifying from these groups. Because you've managed to set yourself a low standard over the years and achieved it, doesn't mean it should be the perpetuation of that.
Do you know what? Even this early in the proceedings, I'm absolutely with him. We should be qualifying, Martin. He's right. We should be qualifying for the finals of the Euros.
Oh, well, that is true, but it's not a real surprise to me. You consider now at this minute that Scotland do possess some quality players who are playing in the big league. That's and I think that is the big thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you're considering Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, they don't have that many players playing in the major league.
What about the Welsh? I mean, Neil Mooney, chief exec of the Welsh FA, said last week automatic qualification was the target, and there would be a review after the final match against Turkey next month. Regards, Rob Page. Now, I think the players proved last night against Croatia we're doing it for the manager. We're doing it for him. We're behind him.
Very much so. Listen, everybody has to go and review after a competition has just ended. You know, that's the norm. You have to have a look at it and see how you might be able to improve. If you've qualified, then there's a fantastic feeling, a real feel-good factor about it all.
Yeah.
But that's inevitable, so I wouldn't read too much into that there. But Wales, again, getting back in the last number of years, you know, have done exceptionally well. Well. So again, there's probably an expectation there about Wales.
Well, last night, actually, Martin, on that, Rob Page virtually said, post-match, they've done it because they're with me.
Action speaks louder than words, and that's it. We don't need it. I'm sick and tired of keep coming on. I'm at the talk about my future, and let's just talk about the lads and the performances. Young JJ's played like he's, you know, a 30-year-old experienced professional against the best midfield in world football. Incredible. I'm so proud of them. Like I said, it's I get emotional at times because I'm just proud of them, and they deserve all the plaudits they're going to get tonight.
Now, Martin, that comes amidst reports that Roy Keane was wanted by the Welsh FA to become their new manager in the summer. I mean, can you read anything into that? Could you see that?
In the summertime?
That Roy Keane his name was thrown in during the summer the summer past, that he could be the man to take over the Welsh if it continued to misfire under Page.
Well, I don't know anything about that, I must admit. Genuinely don't. I suppose you're looking at the wider question, perhaps maybe would Roy go back into management? Again, I haven't spoken to him for some time on that subject. We went to a function in a football game, a charity football game for Stilian Petrov in Sofia, but his talk about going back into football management never occurred at that time.
Has he still got a lot to offer, Martin, in the dugout?
My view, which is probably different to Simon's, is that I think that. I know, and I've worked with him. I don't pretend to know Roy fantastically well. We had a number of years together, but that was, remember, international football, so we're meeting up for a little while. And then disappearing for quite some considerable time. Then we would meet up in the Midlands for meetings and things like this here. But overall, I definitely felt that he had something to offer. I thought he did terrifically well at Sunderland, and then obviously Ipswich was a difficult proposition. But I felt that he did have something there that to go back.
You think that, Simon, he's still got something to offer in the dugout?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a Roy Keane admirer in lots of ways. I'm not entirely sure, present company excluded, that I appreciate the company that he keeps. But notwithstanding that, in terms of Gary Neville and that motley crew, but I do think that he is an interesting observer of the game. I do think as a player he was a unique phenomenon. As a manager, I think he was a mixed bag. To me, he felt like a little bit one-dimensional, but that's the outside looking in. And if you look at the fact domestically he hasn't managed for 12 years, it's very difficult to argue for him to be in an international framework on the back of the body of work that he's done. I mean, Wales is a certain setup. I wouldn't have been advocating for him to go into Wales, but going to the centre of what Martin's view of my view on him is I think he's an outstanding leader. I didn't think it translated into football management, and I don't know why. And that might be because of the characteristics that we saw on the pitch, and the intolerance or the preparedness not to accept lower standards. I don't know. Martin can speak to that more specifically because he worked with a fella.
Surely surely he's a shoe-in for the Irish. Stephen Kenny can't survive, can he, Martin?
Just getting back to the point about Roy for a second or two. He did have exacting standards, no question about it. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that is part of his makeup, as part of the drive, part of the determination about himself, and obviously a massive leader on the football pitch. No question about it. He drove that Manchester United side on for years and years.
Absolutely.
I mean, they had great players playing on their side, but would they have achieved all of that there? Without the combination of a phenomenal manager and a phenomenal captain? I'm not so sure. It is that driving force. So you've done that there as a player. You take some things into management there. Roy Keane adapted. He definitely adapted in management. It wasn't a charge, a bullet a gate every single minute, And sometimes you do get these reputations, and they're hard to shift. And Roy, when I was in conversation with him and we were talking about the game, he was articulate. He knew the game. He knew the game inside out. And this idea, we did have the occasional laugh about the new sentences, the new phrases that were coming into the game. The high press, the low block, all that type of stuff.
Right.
So why do you keep saying right, Jim? Are you waiting for something else to be said there?
I'm going to push you on this situation with Ireland. Ireland second bottom from Group B, 1 win from 6, 5 defeats. Stephen Kenny on the brink. If he's not, he should be. Roy Keane, surely a shoe-in, is he not?
I think that he would be in consideration for the job if it were to come around. I think in terms of the results of the Republic of Ireland have been, I have to say this, really poor. And this is coming from a manager who managed the side.
Why do you think he should be considered, Martin? Because you like him? Because you've worked with him?
No,
what is it about him that you say, after 12 years of not domestically managing, not being hugely successful in dugouts alongside other people, present company accepted. What is it besides that makes you think, I tell you what, here's the guy that's going to fix the malaise at Republic of Ireland? I get the argument about Stephen Kenny, and I get your rancor about those situations, but let's have it right.
My rancor is definitely there, very, very strong about that. But, here's what I think.
The fans would love him, no?
Well, this is the whole point. I think that is absolutely right. Now, remember, in Saipan in 2002, he definitely divided opinion in the country. People thought that he should never have walked away. Other people thought that it was the right thing to do because the Republic of Ireland had not planned it properly and that everything should have been a bit more professional. That's gone now. Roy has done that. He's been the assistant manager. He knows these players. He goes to a lot of football matches still, and he knows the players. So now you're talking about management. International management per se is totally and utterly different to club management in the sense that you have worked with the players for 2 or 3 days. This idea that you're going to change the way that players play and the way that you're going to get them to control the ball and pass it. It's an absolute myth.
I get that, but it's Roy the man.
What? Well, why not? Why not? Why could he not exert that sort of passion that I believe that the Republic of Ireland probably need again? And would he have?
So is the sole functionality of a manager to be a rah-rah deliverer at the international level to engender this, tally-ho sort of mentality?
That's part of it. That is part of the job. There's no question.
But it has to be bigger than that, doesn't it?
Of course, yeah. I mean, you have to be tactically aware, I think, in the game, absolutely. Yeah. And the most important thing, Simon, I believe, for a manager of a so-called minnow team, side in the sense that Republic of Ireland probably shouldn't be, is the ability within those couple of days to get players to get player, yeah, absolutely. First of all, get the message across. 2, do the work with them in terms of set pieces and things that you think you might be able to get some sort of an advantage. And the third, the most important thing, is to get players who are probably playing on a lower level, to believe that they can be.
Is he the sort of person that can bring? I mean, he seems to me like an island in his own right. Is he the sort of person that brings people with him? Because I feel, looking at him from the outside in, he's the person that does the polar opposite. Like that standards, we all know that standards need to be upheld sometimes. But sometimes you have to accept what's in front of you and make the very best of it. Mm-hmm. And that means with the players that you're playing with, the circumstances you find yourself in, and you should hold people to account. But for me, going back to the original genesis, does he bring people with him or does he alienate?
Oh, well, I think that the great managers do bring a lot of people with them.
He's not a great manager, is he?
Wait a minute. Yes, well, just let me finish my point.
Cool.
All right? Okay. So, but sometimes the great managers in the game, the people who've got the great reputations, haven't brought everybody with them.
Like Clough.
Absolutely right. They don't bring everybody with them. Sometimes those people go by the wayside because they either don't go into this message, as it were, or whatever you're trying to
So does Roy bring people with him as a person?
I think Roy brings people with him.
So Roy would be the right man for the job if Kenny goes?
I think that he would have. Let me put it this way: having worked with him here, if somebody asked me would I be in the voting system, absolutely. There are a couple of other candidates as well too who might have a go.
So Ireland,
is he the best candidate?
He's as good as anybody out there.
Okay, Ireland second bottom from Group B, just 1 win from 6 and 5 defeats. Roy Keane, is he the man if Stephen Kenny was to go sometime pretty soon? And it would seem that is very much on the cards. You can give us a shout on that, 810 89.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.